enede atudwa se bosomi we mu die se ewa ene kata minimu ya de friend say flu sa ya de no asati ate se pa enu nti omo be bode wura magana fo nyine ho kwan a e be fa so a ye be bo ye ho by sanso na Kane3 person edma National Peace Council Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante wakacha amanyofo se wo munya se ntokwa sia na wo mo ede amanyose mawuram na ntokwa no wo sa a enko eda Ora Kennedy wahene Japan panyi peso kwa Franka edema MPP amanyako no so na wakacha amanyako no eto hene ne asia hene for say o ma sola ye ni ahwe o ma so economist ahwe ebredru say o mo so businessman and so she sanso na Dr. Alhaji Mamudu Baumia no peso kwa Franka edema MPP amanyako no wase wono de obekoso aprenka bom ede ama MPP amanyako ne manyina nti osre esi ahene foso omonto aba no emfa emomo Ghanaian medical students omo Cuba omo so asan aba bonti bi omo sra ban no se aban no scholarship secretariat omo hwe na abosumi bebre nyanam kakra wasa aban ne de mom ne maye omo nyemu emfa emma wo anwumre some way na mebaje bre akyerem ede asomo se Sikka Kase3 anwumre no sia ye kase bomedi ede ajwa nyako aborma ye nyatwa kwa ne so aba ye de kyeremu abrel
Sikka FM track wine ye ne yakro 89.5 Sikka FM
Sikka FM 89.5 yes suma santimai
ye sha somna sia na ye free man panyi John Dramani Mahama na tena ye ho ne yakoshe kasebo no ase enche bia na United Nations General Assembly ekoso wo New York USA abrochi memo na eho na mampanyi edi se bi kwotu dwa se ebredru se wo se edi die mapane obuo mapa wo se wo mo edi som abibiman no wo mo de maganafo ase ganafo ne abibifo de ye kodura abrochira wo mo hye afo ya nya hwe so abrochira ya abrochira gina mampanyi so wo se kire ka kire wo mo se eye abibifo na ama abrochire aya abrochire enti die mo ho eni afa obuo bi e wo so mo de maye bia e wo so mo de maye ni kwa so mo toto yase na mo de yanim so aya fom sansam wa gana mampanyi ere kwatu dwa e wo New York abrochimemu ene ne dai wo ne Ghanaian YouTuber wo di maya enso edi nkomo wo China ni nyina ye Global Conference for Women no ekoso wo China hwana mampanyi se sansam no kan no ye jani ne yase won ko basa ka asem kro no a ompacho en wo sanso ensa na no fisa no kwetrodo en wo kan ye Ghana mampanyi John Dramani Mahama.
When you speak from the heart, that's how it comes across. And so you need to put your thoughts into your speech and own the speech, and that is what I did. I crafted it, and I meant every word in there. I talked about reparations, I talked about the global system and how it is changing and how it has been unjust to Africans, and in any new global order that succeeds it, there must be justice and equity for Africa, including having an equal say, you know, in international global institutions like the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the multilateral financial institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, and all that. Africa must have a greater say in all these institutions. Aside from that, the current world order is rigged against Africa. And so if you look at the colonial patterns of trade that were established by our colonial masters, they are the same patterns of trade. Railways lead to only where there are resources, and they lead from there to the ports in order to extract those resources and export them to other destinations. We continue to live as colonial slaves. Let me call it neo-colonial slaves, because we have a flag and we have independence, but still the system is.
And yet, Ghana Mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Honorable John Abdullah Apostle, and Minister for Energy and Green Transition. ɔse ɔman mu nyina ne mu animu ya was ye pe sika the first investment na ye de Volta River Authority via redwumadiem say the be almost better o ma hyem na adwuma no omo ye de amagana no o matumi ageni ye se si a wo man yi mu de afibia aban no de $840 million and a wode ehye anase wode to nyinama hoden the free independent power producers IPPs wo Kase3 6 ye betimi de awura VR redwumadiem na kwomati mama ya nyina mahode na kiaje de afri hwa na dai na ono abuginapo bo anan kwosra VR kwhwe se de omudwumadi ahodo esi ekon wo kire se bredru se wo mayan kase ye diska be hye o mayan kase ye dwumakuo ahodom na tumi aboa ama yenso ye heyai no ya ya tumi agene ma betumi asom ye manfo honorable Abdullahi John Jinapo Intino.
That is supplied to anchor the economy. And look at what Akosombo and POM has done. And I was telling your chief executive that my experience with the IPPs has shown me that we have to invest heavily in VRA. And today, look at how much we pay to IPPs every month. We were taking a bold decision and decided that, look, the tariffs we are charging today, let's escrow those amounts into an account. We're talking about $70 million every month, US dollars. That is on the back of the envelope, $840 million every year, not cities. The number of years the IPPs have been operating. Don't you think that if we had escrowed this money, we would have built more thermal plants at VRA? And sell the power at a cheaper price. But the reality is that sometimes they all pretend. So when we have VRA, we say that don't charge tariffs because it's VRA. So we pretend.
And I see Honorable John Abdullahi Jinapo Owiye and was say I no any IPPs no. Atna say edidin komo foforo akontiase apam foforo eno ebe boye ama oman mu ni mu nyina ebotumi abo be $300 million ho ban osesa na be boa ama ya na ya na dadwen kese a ya na daso ye ne so omo so atumi afri ho.
So far what the IPP negotiating team has done tells me that we are saving about $300 million from the IPPs. Your previous administration did their bid, we've also come to improve on it, and that is what we ought to be doing. It's not always about politics, let's sometimes put the nation's interest first. If we do it, we do it for Ghana. And so I don't care your political affiliation as you sit here. In 4 years' time, you will determine what happens. But before the 4 years, let's put VRA first, let's put Ghana first, and let's work and turn around this sector. This year's budget is giving us $28 billion, not for investments, but to pay energy sector shortfalls. If it continues like that, next year will be $35 billion. If we don't stop it, what it means is eventually, energy sector shortfalls alone will consume the whole budget. And it's not sustainable. So I've been working with the team aggressively to turn around that unfortunate scenario so that eventually we can win the energy sector of the national budget. And from what we are paying, from the revenues we are generating, from the improvements that we are making, I can see that there's light at the end of the tunnel, even though there's more to be done.
And I see your software share and your mahode ne honsam so ewa mayimo Honorable John Abdullahi Jinapo. Yeah, to Kase3 so ye call Ghana Health Service GHS or makache. Almost so they are two just say ya dear friend is a flu and you be huna umuya wo ya kakra na wo bowa na wo minim hyehye no ho ya basabasa saa yade no wo ho de ne nso mo sisi busumi we de asa akosoro pa ni padodo na enya bi ko aso piti sane clinics ahodo a obi akwa e flu en wo de ko akwakosa no ho yade osofo hwempomre ho senso honorable kwabra minta akando se aseye no ene Ghana fo nyina bididi nkomo se de be ye be hu kwan a e be fa so aboy ho ban na flu no atere no ye beto so yenti honorable na.
It's unfortunate, but it's normal. It's seasonal, as you have indicated, and so around the cooler months we get some of these outbreaks. And so at the moment, the Ministry of Health through Ghana Health Service, they are coordinating with the various schools. You feel your throat is itching you are feverish and all that, you report to the nearest hospital. So the Ghana Health Service is collaborating with areas that we have detected this flu and monitoring. So far, we don't have any critically ill person who has been admitted, and so we are on top of it. There's no cause for alarm.
Any ati ampomede so for honorable kwabena minta akando omuguso omuye ho adwuma no tini kwaso obia eyem hyeso no ne mom wo ho na wo hu sansa nkyerene no wotia wo ya umini mu ya wo ya asa wo bo wa kakra wo ya umra adaroma no akọ asopiti eben wo na wakwakoje ayareshe ere kase abone to aso dia na ye ko kane chairperson Edema National Peace Council Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante was say Ebenifo gusu apese bokojo menteme ho ase ne pinchen to kwano e wo ho dedaada ne nyina ebenifo gusu a ye ne me beboa edidi nkomo se de be ya asumdwe ebetena bokoda na was say ade ba ko emwa eboko ntokwa amanyosam a yamanyofo no womodi ewurawuram ose Ghana yeti hwe ye hawo nyina yamanyofo omukọ atifi konumu a no masa aba nafo aso omo kasa afa nkabom ho aso omo kasa afa sumdwe ho eso omo akasa anya ne ma kire se de omo ka no eye no kre enti Most Reverend for Professor Emmanuel Asante eso won de okacha amanyofo so omo hwe na edrum dokwasem ne yekopra sumdwe a wo munyi amanyosem ne partisem efrim se de be ya beboa ama sumdwe so etumi atna jemanyi emu yeti ne.
The political element is a big problem, and I'm hoping that our politicians will stay away from, exploiting such situations to enhance their own party ego, if I may put it that way. Let the politicians understand that the peace of any part of this country redounds to the well-being and to the development of our nation. And therefore, let's not exploit such situations secretly just because we want to be in power or we want to gain power or whatever it is. We are one people and we should not destroy ourselves.
Yenina nipa ba ko ni kwanse ye konkom ye ho na ye kasa National Peace Council omo oboko a omo ne bokofo omo asante mantam ha embom na ehyiehia omo didi nkomo sere ba enwanum kusasefo ne mampurusifo asumdwe ebeba omo Ashanti Regional Security Council ne Peace Council omo ne mpanyifo kusasefo ne afi mampurusi mpanyifo atena se didi nkomo ne nyina ye kwan a ebefa so asumdwe mapa enso baba Most Reverend Emmanuel Asante emoyemu ewo sansam no so
For us to demonstrate together that they are one, I do believe that is going to do a lot of things for the Boko Peace Initiative. Other women in different regions will also take a cue from what they are doing and they will then follow. So for me, this is very, very, very crucial, and I'm praying that it will not just be a day's wonder, that the zeal with which they have spoken and the commitments they have made, we will be able to push it further for us to see that unity, that oneness, that public demonstration of oneness, so that it will stretch, and touch the different regions and bring peace to Boko.
Any ITA National Peace Council Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante. Yafa Kasebono enko ye MPP amanyoko na famwe na wapanyu apeso kura franka ni bi ede ema amanyoko no honorable Kennedy Japan wono so akasa waso wonde waka kire sia hene ene etu hene fo a omo amanyoko nim said ye di kan o ma try obi a woye economic magwai obi a wabere ewo economy ho ensemu obi betu franka sa ankosiaga aloya fo aba ankosiaga was say bread said delegates and try businessman betumi aboa MPP ene Ghana nyina ebra edru to was delegates say edru January 2026 no a omonto aba ne manifesto no businessman yi oba beboa ene na adwen ene nim de ene sika aboa peja Ghana nyina wo sanse mo etudwa abra wo ye ne campaign ewo wa inti.
We are going to build fertilizer plant. I will not be regional. If you say, "Oh, Shasasi and Daha," any new man you let me be assassin, ya. It means no one who you come and say, do we have political leaders here? Do we have political leaders here? Mutai MPP Bamu vice president, NDC Bamu president. As we be just more president, more vice president. Ocean, a hostel, any new man in Yawaha. This time, Mesram, Moses Samusano. Ya try politicians are homoya economists, homoya lawyers, homoya degrees. This time, you try a businessman. You try a businessman. Now you and then Uko Kutunu Beni. President Nubaya or a businessman. I dear Baku people will be seen cotton industry.
Ene eti openyo peso kura franka adema MPP amanyoko no era Kennedy akompra ko Japan. Na idim se Kane Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia ono so girem de opeso kura franka de ema MPP amanyoko no ono so wo our journey together to no ono so bontoa wo bunu ismantam no emu eho ena waka hye MPP me wo ho sebradri yenkabom bre ebradri eyonuado ene ahoden bre eno nti wo sra mo so obunyina tai na chi na wo no de yenkabom ne asumdwe nko a eho asem ena wo ka ne duru wo nto aba ne fama no emo ema MPP nso enya enkabomu ebio Kane Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia
adia ewo ho no say ye party mo ye hian kabom a ye de ko wini 2028 election ye hian kabom pa udidi obi atema na ofre no a obeba omba enti misusu kasa mindidi obi atem mudi franka ne chemisa me shemu bose mefka obi abom na yakọ akoji tumi no
Obeka obia bom na wako akwakoje tumi no Kane Vice President isi ade peso kura franka ne bio esan ede ema MPP amanyoko no yera Kennedy Japan anasa Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia ene ete ne nken Sikka 89.5 anwuma no sia kasebo ne guso ayeken kan ede ama yere kasebo no ekọ eye adesuafo a Ghana medical students omo Cuba omo ho na yeko na ya etatu omo nka se womo sre abino se abino enhwe na nwanam kakra no a wode ebe ma o manase wode eboa womono wonfa emma wo masan asore wakabio ma omo kire se ebro afene fanie wo munya kapre bus allowance mai eno kwa de 5 years eja scholarship hu ska so kra omo de betwetwe omo ho ani nyina emma eno ti no omo sre Ghana scholarship secretary se ni mu ya omo sre obi ma so no omo wo ekomwom ani brewom eno ti panyifo fa ma omo na omo so fa entwitwa omo ho Samuel Asante wakadisuafo ne baako ho no eno ne yen ekasa yenti.
They need to ask the Ghana Scholarship Secretary to find out the reason why there has been a delay with sending money to the students here in Cuba, because the situation here is very difficult and Like we all know, Cuba itself is facing serious economic crisis due to the embargo US has placed on them. And ever since Trump took power, the situation here has really worsened. I can't even begin to say it word for word as to how it's, affecting our lives, because it's very unimaginable. Can't afford basic necessities such as food, soap, sanitaries, and many others. We are trapped in a system where we are expected to study, survive, and succeed academically, but without any means to sustain ourselves. We feel abandoned and left. It's like we've been left on the desert just to survive by ourselves. We are now forced to hide before attending our clinical duties just to avoid humiliation of facing those we owe. Or we are not asking for luxury, but we just want the bare minimum just to survive and focus peacefully on our studies and return home to serve our motherland as doctors.
And yet, what the Samuel Asante or Ghana medical students now. Omo Cuba Asian dear no and yet is would you never strap by no say Janam Kakaka no de mono a che a finifa a chepanti a baya bay dear on Shannon for more. You almost say so next man who second if you had Nina Sikka Kase boy coming for real but you want a boba no emo some for last on Koja bofa SMU de my over them had dear a year month some say 1 powerful on in his sweetheart no born no a pia de my see what the Bullet Fashion Center DJ Bullet and soon as she from ano de Miami day de Ajua Nyako and Abronoma.